Hey guys, thanks for joining. Hopefully that now that we're far enough in that you've been getting a lot of good information, some good content. Don't forget that we do have articles that you can also go through and you'll get more information. Today, we're going to be discussing mortgage financing.
That's right.
And one of the things that I want you to know and have the confidence in is that when you're working with a really good lender and your agent and your lender communicate together, I have actually a lot, in my opinion, the way I feel, I have a lot more leverage when it comes to negotiating on your behalf, because I know how good of a profile or a lender profile, a loan profile you are as a buyer. And so to that end, we'll let Danny kind of explain just a little bit more about what that is and what that means and why you need to know about it.
So we'll keep this at the 10,000 foot perspective, because there's a lot, as you start with financing a home, there's a lot of terminology to learn, a lot of different words that are going to be thrown around that maybe you're not familiar with, that haven't heard before, or not sure what they are. So the real thing to keep in mind are the differences between fixed and adjustable rate mortgages. A fixed mortgage, whether it's 15 or 20 or 30 years, has a fixed interest rate. The interest rate, the monthly payment, principal and interest, will not change from day one until day 30 or year 30 when you pay it. Your interest is fixed the entire time. An adjustable rate mortgage starts off with a lower interest rate generally, and at a certain point, whether it's 5 years or 7 years or 10 years, can reset upward. And it can reset every 6 months, every year, for a predetermined amount of time. So you may start off with a lower interest rate, but at a certain point, that interest rate may be above what you would qualify for a fixed rate. So keep that in mind. Adjustable rate mortgages may be a good option if you're planning on staying in a house for 3 or 4 years. Maybe it's a shorter term. It's a shorter term purchase rather than a longer term purchase. The next, and it's the one that people ask me about all the time: what are interest rates? What do rates look like? Well, when you're looking at an interest rate for a home, there are two components to it that you need to keep in mind. One is the interest rate. Two are the points, what are called points, or origination points, or buy down points. And that is, very simply, a fee above and beyond everything else that you will pay to buy the home just for the interest rate. As a comparison, the big online mortgage lender that everybody knows, they've got their names on the side of stadiums, their interest rates look really, really attractive if you go on their website. But it includes 2 points. That means if you're buying a $200,000 home or a $200,000 loan, that rate has $4,000 attached to it above and beyond every other fee that you will pay. So as you're comparing rates, if you're shopping around looking for the best deal, make sure when you're looking at interest rates, you're looking at the rate and the points associated with them. There are 2 separate components that make up what you're actually paying. Keep that in mind.
And one of the biggest things too that especially, well, with all of my clients, I always ask them to get it's a cost fee structure that they get from the lender that says, what's the name of that?
Well, we provide an itemized fee sheet. It is a breakdown of what closing costs look like. Setting up an escrow account, cost of an appraisal, cost of home insurance, property taxes, titling the property in your name, all of the costs, the closing costs associated with actually making the purchase.
And this is all part of that truth in lending, right? And believe it or not, Danny and I, we've actually experienced this together. There was a first-time home buyer of mine. The lender was not giving him those fee structures. Anytime I fall into where I see someone that's not following up and providing these fee structures, my advice is always run. It needs to be out, open, and honest. Here's what my fees. It shouldn't matter who you are or where you're coming from. The fee structures could be pretty simple across the board, right? And so that's something that Danny always does a really good job at showing. And while, you know, sometimes the rate may not be there, but the overall cost and all that stuff is. And if you end up adding some of, like, you make the choice to add more to the points, you might even be able to work out even a better deal. So,
yeah. The other part that I would mention as you're looking for the right mortgage lender, try to use somebody local. Try to use somebody that understands your market. They understand property tax implications for where you're looking to buy, home insurance implications, prices for where you're looking to buy. The worst thing that can happen is you're dealing with a mortgage lender that will tell you that home insurance costs $50 a month, with in reality it's $250 a month. So once you've signed everything and you're ready to make the purchase, the amount of cash that you have to bring to the table at closing goes way up because somebody didn't know your area, they didn't understand your market real well, and they underestimated all the costs and fees associated with making that purchase. Work with somebody local, work with somebody that you trust, work with somebody that you can get a hold of and that communicates well with you and with your real estate agent.
so kind of pull the curtain back, as you know, like for the Wizard of Oz analogy there. It's very, very important that you know who you're working with when it comes to your loan. I'll have, and you can fill in the national brands. I'm not gonna, say their names here, but we all kind of have an idea of national brands that you may hear advertised and all that stuff. But ever since Henry Ford created the assembly line, a lot of these big national companies created the same type of thing for their back office. And so depending on where your loan is, depends on whose desk it is on. And when you call in to try to figure out, hey, what's the status on this? Where's that? How is this looking? Oh, I don't know. I'll have to get back to you 24 hours later. Now, when I am working with a seller and I have negotiated a few things and they need a response on whether or not we're good with that, I need to be able to get a hold of that lender and validate and verify on your behalf whether or not that will be good for your profile or not. And honestly, there's been a couple of times where these big national banks nearly cost the deal just because of that. And what did my client say? Well, I just wanted to save a few bucks. Well, the problem is that they weren't really saving a few bucks. They just thought they were because of the upfront stuff. Here's your rate and all that stuff. Just don't get me going. Use local lenders, someone that you can actually go into their office, sit down and talk to them. That is always preferable. So I guess that wraps up this video. Hopefully you've been getting a lot of great content, been learning a lot. If you know of anybody else that's looking to buy and they're also a first-time home buyer, or it's been a long time since they bought, hey, do us a favor, share this with them, let them see it. We want to be able to get this information out to as many people as possible, and it doesn't cost you a thing. All right, God bless.